All right, let's look at this star here. And I want to look at this one. The graph, if I come from the left to the right, starts at 0. And then continuing to the right, I notice that the graph ends at 6. Now, some of you were thinking, hey, this graph is continuous, there's no breaks in it, so we must be talking about infinity. And that is not the case. Continuity of the graph, not having any openings in it, is not the same thing as the domain and range being infinity. You still have to look at where does the graph stop and where does it start and where does it stop. Again, reading left to right for domain, and now we'll be reading bottom to top for range. So our graph doesn't start until -2, and then from there it continues up until +2. So this area right in here, that is where our graph exists, domain and range wise. So let's go ahead and write those. This asks to write in interval notation, and that's what I'm going to do here is interval notation. So I'm starting my graph in the x direction. It starts at 0. It starts right there at the y-axis. So my domain, my smallest point is at 0, and that's an inclusive point because remember we said that if the graph is continuous, it's like having a closed dot. So we start at 0 and we end at 6, both with closed dots. If we want to look at the range, our range in interval notation starts at -2. Again, that's like a closed dot. You could look at either of those points. So those closed dots mean a bracket at -2, and then we end at +2 again with a bracket.